Introduced into service in 2007 by launch customer Singapore Airlines, the Airbus A380 was set to be the plane of the future, offering unparalleled passenger comfort and providing airlines with game-changing capacity. But only around 250 Airbus A380s ever rolled off the manufacturer's assembly line, and even fewer remain in service today, with production halted in 2021. The most glaring failure of the Airbus A380 was its inability to make inroads in the American aviation market. No airline from the United States ever placed an order. The aircraft had been unable to perform in the sales department in the world's largest aviation market, a notable blemish on its record. So, for today's video, let's look at some of the reasons why US carriers shied away from the aircraft type. Some reasons will be general and apply to airlines worldwide, but others will be more relevant to the United States. So, if you're ready, let's get started. With all the benefits such a massive plane could offer and the rapidly increasing demand for air travel, why did US airlines never order the massive widebody? Well, firstly, there was no central hub. Among the key arguments against the A380 is that it can only truly be suited for markets dominated by a single hub, a hub through which dozens of daily flights are routed. The major airlines that have succeeded in operating the Airbus A380 include all the following carriers which prioritize connecting passengers through a single global hub: British Airways and its hub at London Heathrow, Emirates at Dubai International, Etihad Airways at Abu Dhabi, and Singapore Airlines at its hub in Singapore Changi. There are, of course, more airlines we could list as examples, but you probably get the picture by now. In contrast to this style of operations, the American market lacks a single central hub. Due to the size of the market, each major airline operates several hubs across the country, allowing for convenient air service for residents across the nation. Furthermore, hubs in the United States are structured differently than those in Europe or the Middle East, as they're not typically the only US hub to serve a given destination abroad. For instance, all major US carriers serve London Heathrow from many different destinations rather than funneling all traffic through a single hub, operating services to LHR from that airport alone. With passenger traffic dispersed geographically, it makes more sense to operate with aircraft smaller than the A380. This allows US carriers to offer more frequencies while ensuring they have an easier time filling seats. Staying on the topic of hub airports, US carriers don't really prioritize international transfer passengers in the same way airlines like those in the Middle East do. Sure, it's not just the United States that requires a transit visa for some nationalities, but the US is one of the countries that requires transiting passengers to go through customs and immigration, even if continuing onwards to another non-US destination. Making things more complicated is that all internationally arriving passengers must claim their luggage and recheck it for their onward flight. With all of these hurdles, you can see why US carriers aren't really in the business of international transfer passengers like other carriers are. This practice, or lack thereof, could certainly have an impact on passenger volumes for long-haul international routes. Our second set of reasons is a more general one. The aircraft is incredibly expensive to operate. Airbus often touts that the A380 is the most economical aircraft in the skies on a per-seat basis. This is true, but only when an airline is able to achieve high enough load factors on its flights. When carriers fail to fill their A380s, they can prove serious economic liabilities. As a result, American legacy carriers, like many across the globe, were hesitant to invest heavily in a plane that had the potential to become a major loss. And it's not just fuel consumption. The aircraft type requires a robust maintenance network that's not comparable to any other aircraft. As a result, the plane has become known for its astronomical support costs, which include expensive maintenance. Keeping a fleet of Airbus A380s well maintained is extremely expensive, and the only airlines that have succeeded with the aircraft have done so due to the sheer scale of their operations or by operating impressive maintenance networks such as Lufthansa Technik. Upgrading facilities to accommodate the aircraft's massive size. Everything from hangar space to new jet bridges would need to be built to accommodate A380 operations, a heavy cost airlines would likely have to bear the bulk of. The next reason has to do with different scheduling philosophies. US airlines prioritize quantity and frequency of flights over capacity. As hinted at earlier in this video, full-service network airlines typically schedule multiple daily services in the United States between the highest demand destinations. Often, they will choose to increase the number of flights between New York and London when faced with an increase in passenger demand, rather than shift to higher capacity aircraft. This caters heavily to the demands of business travelers, who are often confined by strict schedules and prefer multiple flight options. With so many airlines flying on the busiest routes, carriers cannot afford to lose out on lucrative business traveler traffic because another airline might be flying a more convenient schedule. As a result, US airlines have shifted their strategy away from high-capacity wide-bodies like the Boeing 747 towards more moderately sized twin jets. Next, ordering the A380 would have been a major shift in the fleet strategies of all three major US carriers. This is the case for the following three key reasons. US airlines were long-time operators of the Boeing 747, so if they were to purchase a high-capacity aircraft, the 747-8 would be an easier choice. These carriers were all hesitant to order any Airbus wide-bodies, with only Delta Airlines operating them today. And American network carriers were aiming to begin flying more point-to-point routes, something the A380 was not designed for. Finally, some have suggested that the lack of interest in the A380 has a lot to do with American protectionism and the fact that it's a European aircraft. Unfortunately, we don't have any hard evidence to prove that this is actually a factor. However, on the flip side, is there a chance that Air France and Lufthansa faced at least a little non-market pressure to order the type? Perhaps, even if we can't say for sure. After all, how embarrassing would it be if the flag carriers of the countries that produced the A380 failed to support the type? It's been stated numerous times by multiple sources that the A380 was as much a political project as it was a commercial one, with Airbus being spurred on by politicians in France and Germany to employ hundreds of workers to bring the super jumbo to life. Obviously, with the aircraft assembled outside of the United States, airlines within the US wouldn't feel any obligation to purchase this foreign jet in the face of all its potential downsides. Besides, it's not like the rival Boeing 747-8 got any attention from US airlines either. At the end of the day, the A380 would be a massive, high-capacity wide-body ill-fitted for the operating styles of Delta, American, or United. Ultimately, they pursued smaller, high-capacity aircraft like the Boeing 787 for their next-generation fleet. Would you like to have seen Airbus A380s flying for US network airlines? Let us know in the comments. Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.